It's a new year and it's a new decade and all that stuff, and for me, the turn of a new year doesn't really mean that much anymore. Like, I don't know, it's not like it's a particular important date for me that it's January 1st or 3rd as it is now when I'm recording this. But what I do like about the new year is that I get to make lists. Because people only really pay attention to lists if they're like over a specific period of time or something. So, you know, let's do this. So this year I actually ended up playing quite a lot of games, like more games than I usually play, and as a result I figured I might as well go back and make another, top 5 games of the year list. And I had plenty of good ones to pick from too. So yeah, let's do this. Obviously I can only pick games that I played, which means that a bunch of games will be left off, but that's how lists work. So without further ado, let's count down the top 5 games of the year according to me. Number 5, God Eater 3. So this was my introduction to the God Eater series. I had not played the previous games, although now I've also played God Eater 2, and I really liked it. God Eater is essentially Bandai Namco's take on Monster Hunter. It's a bit different, it's not as slow-paced as Monster Hunter, it has a bit more of a focus on a narrative, and it's really neat. I really like it. Any game where you get to basically become a mom makes me happy, cause like there's something really cool about playing as a mom in a game. I don't know, it's pretty uncommon, and if you play as a female character in this game you get to be a mom. That's not really much of a spoiler, it's like something that happens early on, is that you adopt a kid, or rather the kid adopts you. And like, I love that, I love those kind of narratives, and I want to see them more in games. We get a lot of games about dads and daughters and dads and sons. We don't get many games with mothers, and admittedly here it's like based on the player's choice of gender. Like if you play as a male character, you will be a dad, but like even so, it's just, that's refreshing. I like that. I think it's really cool. I want more moms in video games. That's why God Eater 3 is the 5th best game of the year. Number 4, Touhou Project 17, Wily Beast and Weakest Creature. I've been a fan of the Touhou Project since like the mid to early 2000s, but I've never really been like much of a player of the games. I mainly dabbed in the like doujins and like the fan flash videos that would be made at the time, all the music, that kind of stuff. I would still read summaries of the games and like the stories, and I love the characters a lot. But this year I decided to like, no, I'm going to actually like play the game myself. I'm going to get the story from the game by playing it, and I got Touhou Project 17 when it released on Steam, and I loved it. Like, it was a really, really good Touhou Project game. It had a great story, great new characters. Yachie is one of the new characters, and she's probably like my favorite Touhou character now. Like, she has surpassed all the other ones that I love. Sorry, my son, I realized that they were in shot. I didn't even intend for that, actually. But like, no, it was a really good game, and I am glad I played it. And I'm not very good at it, but I did beat it, so you know, that's something. I'm not good at bullet hell games at all. Like, I'm just not. It's not really my genre, but I had a good time, and like, really like the story, really like the characters, really love the music. Oh my god, the music! I love the fact that like the world building introduced the animal realm, and like the Yakuza families of the animal realm. You have Yachie, who's a Yakuza matriarch, and you have Saki, who's also a Yakuza matriarch, and like, that was a really cool thing. So yeah, I Touhou Project 17, I absolutely adored it, and I'm so glad I played it. And actually for once finished a Touhou game. That's very unusual. Number 3, Code Vein. So I've been playing the first Dark Souls since 2015 or 14, and I still haven't beaten it. You can follow my playthrough of that on this channel. I've been recording every single moment of it, and I'm so bad at Dark Souls that I will probably never beat that game because I'm really bad at it. But Code Vein, now that game, like, I don't know why, but that game I just kept playing until I beat it in essentially like a month's time. I had a great time with Code Vein, which is again Bandai Namco doing a Dark Souls. Like, well, okay, Bandai Namco actually publishes Dark Souls as well, but like it's this like vampire, it's this like post-apocalyptic vampire anime-esque Dark Souls clone, and it's really fun. Has a fantastic character creator. They keep adding new stuff to the character creator as well as free updates. Really good world building, really cool designs all over. A bit repetitive in terms of combat at times, and it doesn't really utilize some of Dark Souls' better features, like how Dark Souls actually uses environmental storytelling and placement of enemies is not as good as in Dark Souls. But overall, I had a better time playing Code Vein than I did Dark Souls. It just was a game that fits my style better. I really enjoyed it a lot. I love Code Vein. I hated the ending. The endings should be clear. There are multiple endings. I don't like any of them. But you know, I still love the game so much that it ended up on this list, and that should say something. So Code Vein, absolutely fantastic game. I cannot recommend it enough. Number 2. Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts is another series I've been a fan of since the first game in the early 2000s, and I was really worried that Kingdom Hearts 3 would be a disappointment because, you know, we waited a long time. This you know, has to send it's this big story arc to end, and it completely blew me away with how fantastic it was. I loved Kingdom Hearts 3. I adored it. I love the combat. The combat is better than ever before. The visuals are fantastic. The storytelling works really well. I know the Kingdom Hearts story, but there are some entries that I didn't play, and even so, I was able to completely follow along with what was happening. They had really good moments of basically doing quick summaries of events throughout the story in ways that feel pretty like genuine and well written rather than just needless exposition. And yeah, I loved it. Like, Kingdom Hearts 3 was everything I wanted it to be, and even so, I'm looking forward to the DLC that will expand even further and of course start setting up future games. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 was fantastic. Really good use of all the licenses they decided to go with. Just an amazing experience, and it spoke to me. It spoke to 12, 13-year-old me playing the original game on the PS2 at my friend's house. So before we get to number 1, I want to do some quick honorable mentions. Now, of course, Pokemon Sword and Shield. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Sword. I really like it. It's not the best Pokemon game ever or anything, but it does so much right, and it improves on so many of Pokemon's inherent issues that the bad things in Pokemon Sword and Shield, like, they don't even compare to all the ways that it fixes it. It's just a fantastic game. I also really liked the visual novel Heart of the Woods, which is a wonderful Ghost Love visual novel. I also started playing the visual novel Shikonium When They Cry, which is the new visual novel by 07th expansion. And you know, I love the original Higurashi When They Cry. I've never really got into Umineko, and speaking of Neckles, here's a cat that wants to get into the video. But like, I do really like 07's style of writing, and so far I'm really liking Draconia. The only reason it didn't end up in the top 5 is because it's still the start of the story, and I don't know, like, it's gonna have to build itself a bit more before I think it reaches as strong of a before it reaches its full potential, so to say. Shenmue 3, I mean, it was never going to end up on this list. Shenmue 3 is the sequel to my favorite game of all time, Shenmue 2, and I do love the fact that it's just a genuine sequel it's like it was made in 2001. But I also can't deny that, you know, games have kind of moved on, and Shenmue 3 hasn't. And as a result, it still feels archaic in a way that cannot be justified the same way an actual old game can be. So, Shenmue 3, I also don't like her, I really don't like the voice acting in Shenmue 3. Like, the voice acting in Shenmue 3 feels forcibly made to sound bad, whereas the voice acting in Shenmue 1 and 2, yeah, it was bad at times, but that's just how voice acting was. You know? That was just how those things ended up. It wasn't intentionally made that way. So, I don't know. Shenmue 3 is a bit of a disappointment to me in that regard. Also, I haven't got my backer copy yet, which is really infuriating because it's a month, like a month and a half old now, and I fucking backed the game. Like, spent a bunch of money on that. I was supposed to get an exclusive backer copy, and it still has not showed up. And like, all of my details, I double checked them, they're accurate. I'm going on a tangent now, I don't care. Where the fuck is my physical Shenmue 3 copy? Like, yeah, sure, I have an Epic Games code that I used and install it digitally, great. But like, where is it? Seriously, where is it? Oh, Puyo Champions. The only reason that one's not in here is because like, there's no story. It's just Puyo game modes, and it's really good. Like, it's Puyo. I love Puyo. But, you know, you're not gonna end up on my top list if you are just the game modes from previous games. Again, sorry. I guess that's it. So, the #1 game of the year, Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. Oh my god, this might be the best Final Fantasy game. And it's really, really hard for me to admit that, because I've been a Final Fantasy fan since the 90s, and I have so many specific nostalgic opinions and such that you can't really budge. But goddamn, I don't think any story in Final Fantasy has ever been told as well as Shadowbringers' story. The gameplay was perfectly paced. Everything was just beautiful. Like, it was one of the best video game experiences I have ever had. Not just in an online game, not just in a Final Fantasy game. Like, ever. It's that incredible. And yeah, I'm not sure what else to say. Final Fantasy Shadowbringers made me cry, it made me laugh. I loved pretty much every character it introduced. I loved every character it developed from the previous stories in Final Fantasy XIV. And I think it's just, like, it's as good as any game got last decade. So, you know, let's just get it out of the way. It's also my game of the decade. Which is pretty amazing, because if you remember the start of the 2010s, Final Fantasy XIV was a disaster. And for it to live through the entire decade and end up as my pick for Game of the Decade speaks, like, just an endless amount to how, what an amazing team Yoshi P put together to fix, you know, the mistake that was Final Fantasy XIV. All without, like, you know, without doing a do-over or anything, without retconning or anything like that. Like, you know, no. Final Fantasy XIV, the original game, is still canon. That still happened, but we learned and improved, and we wound up stronger than ever before as a result. And I love Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers, and I think everyone should play it. Those are my games of the year. Normally I would, like, have a mention of, like, the worst game of the year as well, but I don't really have one this year. Like, I only ended up playing games that I liked, so, you know, that's good. put a lot of Pokemon stuff on here, considering Pokemon is not on the list. I'm even wearing a Pokemon t-shirt.